Just wanted to do a quick video. Decided to go ahead and try to get a slightly larger air filter for my Injen. It's the short ram kind of version of the intake they make. I don't know the part number handy, but it's the one that's designed to fit the 2016 and 2017 models due to the evap lines. And I've done the evap mod so I could use a whoosh silicon intake hose, but I still am using the Injen adapter, which I like because it uses a 3-inch filter. So the Injen filter is kind of small, you can see here. So I opted to see if an AEM filter would fit. And because of the limited room, I went ahead, I've tried on a different time around, I tried this particular model here, but without the offset. I think the OSK or the O in there means it's offset. So right here you can see this filter has an offset to the input to it. So I think that will help clear everything. But you can see it's definitely bigger. When I did the math, I think it's maybe like 30% bigger or something when you take into account the entire surface area. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and try to put this in. I believe it's going to fit just barely. One thing I want to note before I show the actual fitment is because I have, and you can see it in my other videos, I have, that's right there it is, a Mountoon radiator. When I put this intake in, I was unable to clear the heat shield. It was too tight in here and I really didn't feel like trimming it. And in the end, it gave me a lot more options for what I could do in this area because I did a quick little fit check. There's no way you can get this larger air filter in without this O hole, so you can drop it down in and then bring it up to connect to the intake adapter. So if you are going to want to try a larger filter on this, the heat shield will most likely prevent you from being able to easily get it in because you have to drop it in, pretty much drop it in like this, with the end pointed down, and then bring it up into the adapter tube. So, and I feel like this gives you, the heat shield really isn't going to give you any true protection from the engine heat, so this gives you at least another resource for potentially cooler air coming up from the ground, even though it is next to the engine. So there it is, with this configuration without the heat shield. And essentially all I did is just mount it. I didn't explain that before, but I just mounted the grommet into where the original air box was. This is exactly where the bolt would come through for this mount anyway. So there's really no difference there. And you can see, well, maybe you can't, it's kind of bright out here, but you can see that it's just barely clearing everything, but it does clear. That offset makes all the difference, because if it was centered, this would probably be up about another 1.5 inches, and it'd be running right into this bracket here, and you wouldn't have enough room. So this offset allows you to get a slightly larger and a different type of filter in. So yeah, hopefully I'll help out some people who want to have some slightly larger filter options. I think the only drawback to this particular type of intake adapter was that the filter that they selected was smaller due to the space limitations, but this pretty much allows you to use the larger filter sizes that are on the complete kits that run all the way, at least all the way to the crossover pipe, but some of them run all the way back. But for instance, the Injen one, I believe, is only a 2.5 inch diameter. And this, I believe this tube is like a little over 2 3/4. And I'm pretty sure the rammer is about 2 3/4. So you get a little, increase in diameter. In the end, it really doesn't matter because the neck down in the back of the turbo is pretty tiny. But so yeah, I'll put the part number for the filter. I showed it on the box earlier, but I'll put the part number for the filter in the description. I ended up removing, there's a little stop ring on the AEM filters. You can see right here where I cut it off. I just took an X-Acto knife, took my time, and just trimmed it so it's level with this lip. I mean, it's not 100% perfect, but what was happening, and this will still fit on without doing this, what was happening is the rolled edge of that adapter tube was buttoned up against this, and it's just making it hard to get a good clamp, and the clamp wanted to pop off because there's kind of almost a cone created because it was bumping up against this a little bit. I think it was flaring it out. This is more in line with how the Injen filter is designed. It doesn't have that stop or anything, so this should help just make for a better fit. So Obviously this filter wasn't meant to be on there, so sometimes you got to make some adjustments to get everything to fit up right. But if you take your X-Acto knife and just run it carefully, careful around this end, because there's obviously, you're much closer to the filter element, but you get it out pretty easily, just a little bit of time, and a sharp X-Acto. So we're gonna go see how this fits. And here it is, tightened down. Removing that inner ring made a huge difference. It allows you to get this thing nice and square on here, and there's kind of the straight portion before it tapers in. You can drop the band, the clamp band right on there, keep it nice and even. I highly recommend, if you're gonna make this change, to cut that inner stop off, because it also gives you, I showed before, the gap in here was right up against it. Now it gives you a little more than a 1/4 inch of gap, so nothing's rubbing. So yeah, I think this is well worth it, little addition to this engine intake. So hope this helps folks out.